What's happening, Tactical Pandas? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, I just bought this. It's the SBA3 pistol stabilizing brace from SB Tactical. They're the ones that make it for 6 Hour and the whole 9 yards. One thing I want to show you, I'm just going to unbox this and just kind of give you an in-depth look at it. I know there's a lot of videos out there kind of praising this and saying it's really kind of a game changer in the pistol world, but because YouTube is so unfriendly to this type of content, this is going to be just a look as opposed to a full-on review. You know, one of the things that for me, and hopefully what I'll accomplish here for you, is that, you know, I wasn't really sure what to expect. Obviously, I was pretty sure I wanted one of these, but it's really hard to know exactly what you're getting, kind of the makeup of it, the ins and outs, and that's why I'm going to just kind of give you a really in-depth, close tour on this. So we'll probably zoom in and take a look at it in detail here. Now, one of the things that I wasn't sure, first of all, you know, you could use this on a rifle, I suppose, but the reality is it's supposed to be meant for a pistol and it's supposed to be meant for arm bracing. But as you know, kind of the letter of the law at the moment, or the interpretation of the rule, means that, you know, if you do end up shouldering this, it's not necessarily redesigning anything, right? So the fact that something doesn't change but yet it's redesigned was kind of an amazing miracle of interpretation in many regards. So for a lot of us that have pistols, because, you know, the rules around getting SBRs is so onerous, this was really a godsend. And in fact, I used the Shockwave, or the CAC stabilizer brace, I think the Shockwave blade or whatever it was called. A little unclear on the rules on that, and I think the big difference here is this like Velcro strap, because this kind of makes this a device that can loop around your forearm or wrist or whatever, and you know that means that it's got intent of being used as a brace as opposed to the blade, which is kind of a little bit more generic. Now, that being said, you can put this on your pistol and get really all the functionality, including this piece right here, which is your adjustment. So you can slide this out to a few different positions. I think SBA3 refers to 3 positions, which is great. You know, pretty much every other stabilizing blade or brace like this has never been adjustable, so you've had to put them kind of in a position that you wanted. Often they were a lot shorter than a lot of people wanted, which kind of defeats the purpose of having them fixed in a really long position, you know, especially if you're trying to make something that's short, so that's concealable, you know, packable, truckable, whatever. All right, so in anticipation of this, when I first saw the reviews, I was like, oh, that's great, I'm going to get more receiver extension tubes, or the buffer tubes. And in fact, what you can see here is it comes with it in here. Now I'm trying to figure out, not exactly sure how I'm going to say push this in, and then you can pull out the extension tube. All right, so there we go. It's a little bit tight in terms of moving this around, that's for sure, but you can see here I just push this in. This is all polymer. I guess I should give you a little tour. All polymer. This switch is fairly flat. I think this looks good. You know, this really looks good. In fact, it's maybe even a little more thin here than I would visually like, but it looks good. Looks like we've got a QD point right there, and it's accessible on either side. And then you can see when I push this in, it's a sleeve that goes around the outside of the tube itself, which is fully enclosed around the extension tube there. So I push this in, and what it looks like it's doing is it's pivoting somewhere in here, and it's pulling out with this little pin, a pin that goes into the buffer tube. So if I pull this, I would think I should be able to get this out all the way, but I'm not sure if I can get that out. So anyway, the good news is you can get this with the buffer tube that you need. Now I'm going to kind of push it in here and see where it snaps in. So we've got one position there, and then a position there. So at least 3 positions, right? Now I will say this is a bit tighter than your normal adjustable stock, but that's okay. I don't know that you're going to have to use it like this much, nor do I think it needs to be quite as smooth as the rifles. And one of the reasons is because I don't know that you'll need it much, but one of the advantages, I should say, is that when you have the adjustable stocks on rifles on these buffer tubes, they tend to wiggle. So we've got just a little bit of play, but not nearly as much as kind of that standard, cheap, mil-spec adjustable, you know, stock. The other thing I will say here is that this appears to be just a regular buffer tube as far as I can tell, but you can see we don't have the cut here for they usually have a little, you know, I don't know, protectors here where they will kind of hug the retaining button in the back here for the buffer itself. So this lip here, as you can see, comes out just a little bit here to give you a little bit more meat down here, so it'll hold that pin down. But oftentimes they have a cut or like I said, crown or kind of protectors kind of protruding there, so you don't have that. And then the recessed piece there, so you can slide it on and line it up. So that's pretty cool. You will need to reuse your locking ring up there because it doesn't come with it. At least mine did not. And then if we go back here, all the hard plastic, hard polymer from this point up and everything in here. And that's pretty cool. Now if we take the front end view, you can see we have some pretty big flanges, some pretty big beveled edges. This is often just round and hugs this buffer tube. So I like the fact that you get a nice angled piece of flat real estate on the sides. That's actually a really primo feature and should give you a nice cheek weld. And that's really where most of the pistol braces were being used, as kind of a third point of contact on your cheek. You do have a kick up here for the loop which holds down this Velcro strap. And if I show you this, we have the Velcro strap that goes all the way around and adjusts under here. So if I open this up, loosen that up, you can see that this rubber piece is very much molded to come together here and look finished when it's closed. But it will open up like this, and you can potentially throw your arm in there. You can see that it goes under a little bar here to hold it in place, and then obviously it's held in place there, but obviously nothing up here. Now this is quite stretchy, so that's nice. I'm just going to loosen it up as much as possible and just stick my arm in here. I have pretty big forearms. You know, I couldn't even do it with the Velcro all the way around. You can see I kind of scratched my hand. But it's not really big enough to go all the way around your forearm, kind of like some of the other pistol braces. It might be on yours, but it's just going to be big enough to kind of go around the top half, and then you could strap this around. In this case, the Velcro is almost too short to close it up, but this would be nice. It's kind of like a lobster claw holding on, and obviously I'm not even holding the brace itself, so it's actually truly bracing on its own. But when you close this up, what you have here is a pretty nice big broad flat back end which looks finished, and I like that these two pieces kind of meet flush and almost doesn't look like they'd come apart. But everything from here, as I was pointing out, down, because this is all hard plastic up here, is a softer rubber. Not soft rubber, but softer rubber. I also like that we have a cover here. I'm not sure if this comes off, but it's a plastic piece. I'm sure it looks like it would come off at somehow. But you do have pretty good flat real estate in case this should inadvertently hit you on the shoulder or on the chest. You won't get necessarily poked to death, needled to death. You'll have a pretty flat area here. And then all this too will also help, but you can see there's a big void here, so you're only going to be in contact with this piece right there. So I like this. Now, in terms of how far it extends, I don't know. I think this looks like it's about the furthest it'll go out. So I want to just give you a quick measurement. From the very end of the buffer tube to the very back end of the brace here, we're basically 10 inches, right? So kind of keep that in mind if you're trying to figure out if this is an improvement over your current piece. And if I collapse it all the way down, I think you should be able to, if we collapse it all the way down to the first locking position, again, if I give you a full-on measurement, top of end of the buffer tube to the back end of the blade, or the stabilizing brace, a little over 7 1/4 inches. So pretty good, you know. I mean, it's like a 3-inch travel. And I don't know, you probably could get this out. I don't know if I could pry this up. It doesn't look like that's going to give any, and I don't know if you're actually supposed to get this off, but usually it's a little easier to assemble it when I'm just putting the tube on and then sliding this on. I also will say it comes in this and as well as FDE, so I have a couple pistols in different colors, and I think this will fit the Adams Arms one really nicely, but also an FDE one, which I'm really desperate to try out. That being said, they are a little under $100 or $200. $100, I wish. A little under $200, like $179, and so I think that's a pretty good price for these. I don't think they're giving them away by any means. You can get some of the stabilizing braces that are, more basic for less. But the fact that it comes with the tube, which is often $20, and the brace, I think this is great. And for a lot of us who want the kind of the adjustability on the pistols to really kind of make them, safe to use, really. I mean, to adjust to different body sizes. I think this is a great innovation. Glad that they are available to owners to be able to take their pistols and make them more stable, safer to use, easier to operate. There was no reason to have rules in place that would make them more dangerous, more uncontrollable. It blows my mind. So I think in general these are awesome. So I'm really excited about this. Maybe pick up some more. Wanted to give you an in-depth look. That's it. I'll put a link to them in the description if you want to check it out. Peter Von Panda out.